So today I have to do some glam smoky eye makeup because I am shooting I am shooting with a brand that I've long loved, Sin and Linen. This video is not sponsored or anything. I love their pajamas, and this is one of those brands that I was like secretly hoping in the back of my mind that I would actually, this is how bold I am, okay? I would DM them with my 3 to 5K, I don't even know how many followers I had at the time, my 3 to 5K followers, I would DM them and be like, hey, I love that you love every single time I post about your pajamas, because I would post them on my stories or something like that. Not a full dedicated post, because I knew in my mind I wanted to manifest that we work together, right? But I would DM them every single time they like my story. I'd be like, hey, we should like work together. And then they would bait me, right? They would be like, oh yeah, definitely. We should definitely do that. And then I'd follow up. I'd be like, great, awesome. What do you want to do? Radio silence. Okay. And I don't fault them. I don't blame them, all right? But it finally happened for me, okay? And I also wanted specifically their bedding, right? I got all the pajama sets that I want from them, but I wanted the bedding, okay? And the bedding, it's a very nice, high quality. Like their stuff is it's meant to last, right? Okay? You can tell that it's meant for the adults of gothic luxury. And so every single time that we would talk, I'd be like, listen, I already own the pajamas. We should just give me the bedding and I'll even do it for free. And I'll shoot things for you. I will take product photos for you. I sent them pictures of my bedroom. Okay, I was thirsty in the DMs for them, and it finally happened for me. I'm shooting for them today. And I gotta put some glam on. I'm gonna do a smoky eye. If you want to see a tutorial, this video isn't gonna be a tutorial at all. I'll link, because I think I've made 2 or 3 different smoky eye video tutorials, actual tutorials. So I'll have those linked down below. But I really just thought that we would chat, catch up, grab yourself. Oh my God, I don't have tea or water with me. I'm gonna go grab my water and you do the same, and let's just chat and get ready so I can get glam to do this thing that I've really wanted to do for a very long time. Okay, so how are you doing? I am doing very, very well lately. Well, okay. Let me not say well, like I have a big crisis going on, because I don't. I am doing very well, but the caveat is I'm doing well, and I'm also in like I'm forced to almost confront certain things about myself. Let's talk about this, okay? Because I'm not trying to be vague. I'm trying to catch up with some friends right now, okay? You, my friend, okay? So this is gonna sound very chronically online, and I promise it's not, but Dan and Phil recently came out together as a couple, all right? And I'll be honest, I used to follow them back in the day, have not watched a single one of their videos, I can honestly say in about a decade. It has been a very long time. But when they came out as a couple, and I had to see the video, I had to see it, because I was like, oh, I haven't heard from these two in forever. Watched the video, something in me awoken, okay? Something that I'll be honest, I'm a little uncomfortable confronting. I realize I'm missing something. I don't remember exactly what they said verbatim in that video, but they had said something like, they basically had to come out as a couple because they were having a hard time forming personal relationships and creating content, because there was such a huge aspect of their life that they had to omit constantly in conversation that they could not talk about. And yes, if you are omitting your relationship with somebody that you live with and have 16 years of memories with, yeah, I would imagine that would be kind of hard to create content, because, I mean, that's a big chunk of life. That is a big aspect of your life. Your day-to-day is dictated. They can't even talk about what they did first thing in the morning, because it would insinuate the idea that they spent the night together. For 16 years, they have been spending the night together, and they've had to omit aspects of their relationship. And You know, first off, I didn't go into this video expecting to have any sort of epiphanies, okay? I didn't go into this video. I went into this video nosy as hell, okay? I went into this video being like, oh, this is on my For You page or whatever, and I'm gonna be nosy as hell and just tune in and see what the heck is going on with these two guys that I used to watch when, you know, I was early years of college. Maybe high school? I don't even know how young I was, but this is a very long time ago. When they said that to me, something in my brain went, oh. 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 Because I had realized that, you know, people would talk when I had my old Instagram account. By the way, you should follow me on my new Instagram account. I will be changing the handle soon back to Anjuli Simone. But right now it's at Anjuli XO. I'll have it linked down below. But I had started a new Instagram account recently. And before I had started that, people would constantly say, when I would ask, you know, what kind of content do you want to hear from me or see from me? They would be like, we want to know more about your life. We want to know more about your life. And to be honest, as a Scorpio moon, I'm like, y'all are just freaking nosy, okay? Because I feel like I give enough of my life. I feel like I talk enough about my life. And as I'm making my new account and as I'm creating content for this new account, I'm reevaluating things because that's what you can do when you start fresh and you start new. I can reevaluate things and I'm realizing, wait, I wasn't talking about jack shit. Jack shit diddly squat on my old account. Even right now, as I'm starting this new account, I'm almost falling back into the same pattern of talking about jack diddly squat because there are so many aspects of my life that I just keep to myself. Privacy is okay. Privacy is not what I'm talking about here, but I'm not a makeup creator. I do makeup and I happen to do makeup, but I'm not a beauty creator where I can just rely on beauty as my content because that's not, just beauty isn't fascinating to me, right? I'm also not a fashion creator. That's not the content that I find the most fun to make, just making fashion content. If somebody said you had to just make fashion content for the next 5 years, I would just be like, well, can I just go do something else instead? Can I go work somewhere else? Because I don't want to just talk about fashion. I don't want to just talk about beauty. I don't want to just talk about one singular thing because for me, the fun is in sharing the things that I've learned and sharing my life. But I have been deliberately omitting my life from my content, deliberately omitting aspects of myself from my content because I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm confronting. I don't know. There is just something in me that is just so secretive and so private. I mean, I'm sure part of it is I don't want to be criticized for the way that I live my life. I don't want to have to deal with speculation about my life. I don't want to have to confront what it feels like to be vulnerable to people. But the problem is my online life does tend to actually mirror my real life. And I realize my omission online is also very representative of my mission in real life. Okay. I very much so omit so much of my personal life in real life to people too, which is why it's so hard for me to form personal relationships. Going back to the Dan and Phil thing, not comparing myself to them because obviously they've reached levels of success that I have not known yet. But they said that it was hard for them too. And as I'm listening to them and watching them talk about this, about how hard it's been for them to have personal connections with people as well as, you know, have that connection with their online audience because of this omission of their life. They said something along the lines of, the people that did know about them together, it ended up feeling like they were including people in a conspiracy and making them feel like they were including people in some big lie. And they didn't want to do that. And as somebody who is chronically worried about being a terrible person, because that's who I am, I'm always scared about being a bad person. Yeah, I get that. I think that's why I also tend to omit aspects of my life in my real life to other people because I don't want to put them as a part of this conspiracy, right? So great, Dan and Phil made me realize something about myself and now I have to decide what do I do with that information, right? Because it's not enough to just gain information about things. You have to decide, to do something with it. And so lately, that's just what I've been thinking about is like, okay, I don't want to omit aspects of my life anymore. I mean, I want to value my privacy. I think that, you know, as a person online, as a person in general, all right, I think that I have a right to privacy. I think we all have a right to privacy. But I want to be a personality to some degree. I think that I have an interesting personality. I think that I have an interesting story in particular to tell. I think I have an interesting mission that people can relate to. And I love all the other things that I do, the fashion, the beauty, you know, the make things pretty of it all. But all of that does not exist without this, you know? Like, I can't just do a lipstick swatch video because that's boring to me. That has no relevance to me because, to be honest, I'm not just running around trying out lipsticks. That's not my life. I love makeup, but not in that way. Not just purely for the love of makeup. I love makeup because I love art, and I am an artist all through and through. And I hope none of this is sounding bad or disparaging towards, I don't know why I'm picking particularly beauty content creators, but I think it's because I'm doing makeup right now. But I hope it's not sounding bad towards beauty content creators, but like, that's their thing, is makeup. That's the story, is to show you about makeup, teach you about makeup, help you find makeup products that might work for you. Great. That is an awesome educational thing that they provide. That is not something that I feel like I am here to provide necessarily. Maybe sometimes offhandedly, but I don't feel like that's ultimately the reason for why I want to exist online. And in the bigger picture of it, it makes me think about, so then why do I want to exist online? Why do I want to put myself out there? Why is this such an important thing for me to do? Because at this point, I've been doing this for so long, I could just decide to go do something else. If I really don't want to talk about myself, I could just, you know, go and decide to, I don't know, be a banker. What do people do in real life? What are real jobs? But then I remember that ultimately, I just want people who grew up as the misfits, who grew up as the weirdos, who grew up without access to finding people that were like themselves. Because also remember, I grew up, you know, the internet was not what the internet is now. We were just getting access to Instagram, I think my sophomore year of college. So I grew up in a time where it was not easy. If you grew up in an all-white town like I did, that was all you saw. You could not just go to the internet and find more Black people to connect with. That was just not a real thing that existed yet in the way that it exists now. I just want people that grew up and are still growing up in places where they feel like maybe there's nobody like them. I want to provide a space for them to see somebody that's like them and also see hope in that. Like, my success is motivated because I want to be successful, right? But my success is also motivated by the fact that I want somebody else to feel encouraged to be the second person, to be the third person, to, you know, go out there because they saw somebody else just like them do it. I hope that makes sense. Because I think all of us can relate to the idea that sometimes it feels like, how am I supposed to do this thing when nobody else like me is doing that? You know, like, how am I supposed to be an influencer, for example, if I'm going up in bumfuck nowhere, Pennsylvania? That's where I come from, okay? You know, the thing is, it's so easy to kind of forget the whole point of content creators, and it's also very easy to forget what makes you special in a space where there are so many content creators out there. There are so many influencers, there's so many artists out there. It's so easy to forget what makes you special. What makes you special isn't the fact that you do makeup, okay? In your small town, yes, that may make you special. That you know how to do makeup in a specific way that nobody else does. That may make you special there, but on the internet, that's not what makes you special. And I hope I'm not saying that, and that sounds mean, but there are a lot of people online that can do their makeup, you know? The thing that makes you special on the internet is you. It's literally you. And I have to remind myself of that, because how am I going to create content? How am I going to want an audience if I'm not willing to share me? If I'm not willing to talk a little bit about me? And like I said, this doesn't mean that I have to like share where I freaking live and shit like that. Like that's not, I don't have to share the ins and outs of my dating history. Now, if I had a partner that I'd been working with for 16 freaking years, I understand why you would need to share that information at some point. Not need, but want to share that information at some point, because actually, yeah, need. Because at some point, you are just constantly having to lie about your identity. You are just constantly having to lie about the day-to-day of your life when people are fascinated by you and the day-to-day of your life. It's not, at that point, it's not omission just out of protection. It's like, it's just straight up omission. It's just straight up just not talking about yourself. And that is the thing that makes you special on the internet. It's literally you. And so as I'm having this realization, I'm like, I don't even know what to do with that. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know how to, because where the frig do I even start with that? At one point in time, I used to share myself on the internet because I was young and I really, life hadn't done the things that it had done to me, you know? And then I got older and I had quite bad relationships with people, just serially bad relationships with people. And it's not any one person's fault, honestly. I think it was a mix of just me being mentally unwell and then the people I was with just not cutting me a fucking break, because I was young and dumb too. But for whatever reason, truthfully, for whatever reason, white people hold black people to a different standard. And I honestly stand by that. And people will definitely have think pieces. Maybe it'll show up in the suggested column next to this video. Okay? But I think that I just hadn't had made any black friends yet and hadn't realized the amount of grace that I deserved in my fuck-ups that I was willing to give other people, even if other people didn't necessarily deserve it. So point blank, I just had really shitty freaking relationships for a really long time, back to back to back to back. And not only did it make me want to shrivel up inside myself in real life, but it also did that to me online. Because like I said, my online life does in a lot of ways mirror my real life. And I started to also recognize this pattern of mine because I love going out. I tell people this all the time, like, I love going out. I would be in the club, okay? I would be out in the club, shaking ass in the club. I know the young people have opinions about, you know, being 30 in the club or whatever. I don't give a fuck, okay? I love being in the club. Doesn't mean I necessarily love getting shit-faced, okay? Because you can go to the club and not be shit-faced. But I love a little dancey dance moment. I love a community moment, a moment where you're catching up with people or meeting people for the first time in the club, and you all dance together for a song or two, and then sometimes it's more than that, and sometimes that's the end of that. I love that. But I don't allow myself to engage in that very often because I'm so eternally paralyzed by the fact that I'm gonna fuck up every single relationship I have. That is ultimately my huge fear, is I will come online. That's what made me realize my ultimate fear, is I will come online and show myself off, talk about myself, talk about my life. And because I'm so scared of fucking up every relationship I have, I'm scared of fucking up my online relationship with y'all, because I'll show up as a human, not as a perfect person, not as an art piece to look at, not as an educator, but I will show up as a person and you will see that I'm a human, and then that'll fuck things up. Because the last thing I want to do in this world is cause harm. I literally was shell-shocked into feeling like I caused harm everywhere I went all throughout my 20s. Did the work. We did the work, okay? So I have a little less fear and I have a lot more faith in myself now. I also have the friends. That's the other thing. I have the friends now that make me feel very affirmed in the fact that I am way less harmful than I have been led to believe. I don't want to cause harm in the world. I don't want to. And my fear is that I would show up, fuck up, show up as a human, fuck up, and then I would cause harm. And then I would not know what to do at that moment with the fact that I had caused devastating amounts of harm. And first off, I need to get the fuck over myself because I'm not that important. And I hate to say that because I realized somebody else used to say that to me. And at first, I thought it was a cool thing that they said to me because it did put me in check sometimes. You know, there was something very comforting in a way about feeling like, oh, the problems that I have, they're not original. You know, I'm not that important. You know, I'm not that different. But now I just realized, you know, low-key, what the fuck was that? Why did I just let somebody say that to me? Why? That's why? But in this case, it does apply. In this case, it does apply. Respectfully, what I do is not going to be earth-shattering. Hopefully I don't have earth-shattering amounts of influence where I'm just fucking up the whole world with a silly little mistake that I may or may not make, you know, hypothetically speaking. Like, hopefully. But also, I need to take a chill pill about that, right? But as somebody who has not had very, very good, healthy relationships around her, I just have I don't know how to foster a relationship in real life or with people online because I don't know how to just talk about myself. I don't know how to just express the things that are going on in my life. I worry about sometimes sounding like I'm bragging. I worry about sometimes sounding like maybe I'm being defeatist. I worry about my tone of things. Like, I will try to talk about something, and I tried to talk to somebody one time about, I got to help design a dress. This is the worst sound of my audio. Eating my gobbler right now. But I tried to talk to somebody not recently, but I tried to talk to somebody. I got to help design a dress, one of the colorways for a dress, because they needed input from brown skinned people because the dress is supposed to be a nude illusion. And I did not talk to anybody in my real life except for my mother, I believe. And then after the fact, after it had happened, I told a couple of people after it. But even then, I didn't really talk about what a big deal and how special that was to me because I was scared it would come off as bragging. Because I had been chastised before for talking about my life and it sounding like I was bragging. In hindsight, I don't think that I did sound like I was bragging. In hindsight, I probably was just talking about being an influencer is a weird thing. Being a content creator, being in this space, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is a weird thing because what you sound like when you say something like, oh yeah, I just did this work with L'Oreal, it sounds like a really big deal. And I'm not trying to say it's not a big deal, but respectfully, it's also just like the job, if that makes sense. Like, if you didn't work with brands, you would not get paid. You know what I mean? So like when people get to just talk about the day-to-day of their job, that's what that is. And so I think, you know, that making this dress was like a promotion, if you will. So it was a heightened aspect of my job, but in a lot of ways, it is just the job. And when you talk about just the job of being like an influencer, creator, or whatever, it does inherently kind of always sound like bragging because it's a weird, exceptional freaking thing. It lives in its own fantasy world. It lives in its own bracket of reality. And so it became a thing where I felt like, because I'd gotten chastised once for talking about getting to work with another brand once before, and somebody's like, hey, you're talking and it sounds like you're bragging, so maybe you just don't talk about that anymore. I took that to heart because I never want to make people feel bad. I took that to heart and like stopped sharing. Literally just stopped sharing aspects of my job because I did not ever want people to feel like I was bragging about my work when it's just my work. Like, also, I don't think that it's a trust thing. I don't think that I am somebody who is just bragging for the sake of bragging. I don't think that that's a thing that I do. I think that I will talk about something and maybe my tone does sometimes come off a little weird, but I don't think that that's just something I inherently do. That's neither here nor there. But I come to internalize this idea that talking about myself is inherently bad. And I should not do it because people don't want to hear about me. People would much rather talk about themselves and they're ordinary, and that's fine. But I should keep my stuff locked up in a box. I also think that, keep in mind, white spaces mostly, I think that this is an attempt. You know, this is something that people, whether the white people in my life realized it or not, I think it was an attempt to minimize, I don't want to say the successful Black woman because I'm not successful by any means, but maybe the exceptional Black woman, you know, the Black woman that maybe is doing something a little bit different, a little bit special. I hate to use that word because I don't think that's the right word there, but I think it was a way to minimize my being. I think it was a way to, and I don't think that the people that did this, I don't think that this is something that they intentionally did. Please understand that. I don't think that this is an intentional thing, but I also think, unfortunately, for a lot of these people, including myself, I was probably one of the very first few Black people that they were around on a daily basis consistently. So they didn't realize their behavior was full of microaggressions, full of just, she should know better. She's, you know, tall, Black, and has her whole life together. And it's like, well, shit, I'm fucking 25 and dumb and young and stupid too. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on either. And even more so because I didn't have all of the advances that you people had. I didn't have access to health insurance or therapy or, you know, I also didn't have all the friend groups because I was constantly moving around. I was never in a situation where I could make friends. Like, I just didn't have the resources that all of you fucking people had around here. So I had to let my concealer sit on my face for a second, which means naturally, I forgot what I was talking about, okay? Because it's been about maybe like 30 minutes or so, all right? I did scroll TikTok a little bit, saw some Dan and Phil. Now I'm like back in the Dan and Phil universe, okay? And it is doing something to my mental health. I don't know if it's good or not, but it is doing something. And, you know, I love creators that make me think, even if that's not necessarily their intention. They're coming out, had nothing to do with me, yet somehow changed my brain chemistry into realizing, oh, that's why I can't make friends. Oh, because I Scorpio moon too close to the sun, all right? I have full on made myself an impenetrable force, and nobody will ever get to know me ever again. And that's sad. That's sad. I'm laughing about it because I almost started to cry before I, you know, decided to let this sit on my face. But it is sad. It is sad when I realize that my whole existence at this point has been stifled because I had shitty relationships with people in my early 20s. And the only reason why I have those shitty relationships with people in my early 20s is because I had an even worse relationship with myself as a child. That sucks. That sucks. That's 3 decades, because I'm 32 now. That's 3 decades of just back to back being shitty to myself, then letting other people be shitty to me. And then I had a phase where I was shitty to myself again, because naturally that's what I have to do. And now I'm at peace. I like myself. I trust myself. I also am okay with the discomforts of the world that, yeah, you know what? You gonna hurt some people, baby. That's just what it is to be human. No human gets by without hurting somebody else. Unfortunately, we don't like to hear that. We can try our best. But alas, we will still somehow hurt somebody somehow, okay? That's just, you will hurt the people you love, and it doesn't mean you love them any less. You will just hurt them. That's just the way of the world. I trust myself with that sentiment now. Don't know what to do with it. I did not know what to do with it until I saw freaking Fan come out in 2025 and make me realize, oh, well, I should have never hidden myself in the first place. That never should have happened. But now I can do something with that. Now I can do something better with that. Because the thing is, when I look at my audience, and this is a very weird thing to talk about, but it's just true. when I look at my audience that have followed me through the years, I have had many iterations of myself on the internet. And none of those people that have followed me everywhere followed me because I was good at makeup. Because there were phases of my life where I was not even talking about makeup. There are phases of my life where, you know, I was being hot and sexy and, you know, getting my good coin on the internet, and people followed me for that. Not followed me for that. Well, they followed me for that, but then they didn't stay for that. You know, they ended up sticking around. I have a couple of male followers that have followed me from account to account. When they first found me, when I was shucking and driving on the internet, they still follow me from account to account just to literally talk about my photo composition and my actual, like, pictures. Not even me, because once again, I'm not doing anything anymore. They talk about the actual work that I do because they follow me for me. And I should find affirmation in that. I should find joy in that because that's what's going to help me connect with other people. The telling of your own story, that is what makes you individual. Because once again, if these people just wanted somebody that was good at makeup, they could have found anybody. They could have decided to follow literally anyone because I'm just a girl. I'm just a baddie who does her face and hopes for the best. I don't always do things the right way. There are definitely scientific processes. Makeup artists are probably shaking in their boots looking at the way that I do my makeup because I just be doing shit, all right? I'm not a technical makeup artist. Not that you have to be, but I'm just not. And I'm not always into makeup. I don't always talk about makeup. But you know what always consistently exists? Me. Even if I'm not always talking about me. I always exist. Because I am the important factor here. I am the standout product of what I serve and bring to the table. And I don't want to be scared anymore. I don't want to be scared of bringing it to the table. I don't want to be scared of talking about, like, you know, my day-to-day. I'm trying to think because I am even still, like, kind of censoring myself now because it's still so foreign to me. And by the way, like I said, the way I talk to you about my life is literally how I do it in my real life too. I am such an, it's almost second nature to me at this point now. It's not a purposeful omission. It's like but yeah, I'm not going to talk about my life. That's a given. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I probably got one or two confidants in my life that I talk about my life with, and then everybody else, they get very sanitized version. I don't know why I'm putting my contour on like that because I don't do that. I don't do that normally. I gotta turn my fan up, so hopefully, I did get a new fan, so hopefully it won't be too loud. It's supposed to be a nice quiet one, but I also think thinking about this stuff is really great if you're somebody like myself, once again, who has a lot of interest in a lot of different things, and you're not quite sure how to incorporate all of those interests into your online presence or online whatever, right? The truth of the matter is, if you are somebody who has a lot of interest, a multi-passionate person like myself, a manifesting generator like myself, love me some human design, you're never gonna be able to pin yourself down. That's just not the reality. And when I was thinking about this new Instagram situation, I was like, do I just start a bunch of new Instagrams for several different interests, or do I start just one and just come at it full throttle with, this is me, this is real, this is me, I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be, yeah. Like, I had to think about how I'm coming at this. And I realized it did not make sense for me to make multiple Instagrams, even talking to other people. It did not make sense for me to make multiple Instagram accounts because I would not be able to post on them consistently because at any given moment, I'm into many different interests, right? My mind is always fluctuating. I always come back, all right? I always come back with my interest, but my interest just changed so rapidly, day to day, okay? What I feel like doing day to day is just constantly different. So it would not make sense for me. It would make way more sense for me to, instead of basing my branding on a thing, to base it on myself, which also means that I have to become comfortable talking about myself, talking about really just my epic fuck-ups in my life, because that's, let's be real, that's really what dominated most of my 20s, is my my little slip and slides there. But I have to be comfortable with putting myself out there and talking about myself, because that is the thing that's consistent. Even when makeup is not my interest at the moment, when fashion is not my interest at the moment, when performing is not my interest at the moment, music, whatever it is, I always have me. Me. I'm the focal. I need to center myself to my lighting so I can make sure that my nose contour does not look crazy. Okay. I still gotta take pictures. You know how I know my skin must be getting really, really dry with the winter months coming up? I have legitimately like the body version of cocoa oil on my skin right now, and my base looks amazing. My base does not look oily. It doesn't feel greasy. My makeup isn't slipping and sliding, which makes me go, oh girl, you dry. Because any other time I'd be like, I do not advise you to do that with your makeup. I do not advise you to put literal oil on your face as a base for your makeup, because your makeup will probably slide off your face. Your makeup will probably not sit, but it's working for me because my face is actually just that dry right now. Great. But as I was saying, if you're somebody who has a hard time with trying to find their niche, and the idea of a niche really just freaking sends you up a wall the way that it does me, I really advise you to consider yourself as the niche, okay? I feel gross even saying that, but just consider yourself, your own story, as the thing that you're sharing. And all of these parts of you are just aspects of you. Much like, you know, the makeup, the fashion, the music, the blah, 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 blah. Those are just all aspects of me, but ultimately, we are kind of just talking about me and my story and how that relates to you. Like I said, I realized that my online life mirrors very much my in real life. And I want friends. I want close relationships with people. I want community. I want to no longer, you know, have this paralyzing fear that I'm gonna get found out. That is something that I'm like, what am I gonna get found out about? Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. But I have a constant fear of being found out. Well, I guess found out that I am a terrible fucking person and I deserve to die. And that's uncalled for. I don't deserve that. That's, babe. What? I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to hear that from anybody else, let alone myself, okay? No. And I will also say, these fears they don't come to you unfounded, right? These fears come because you've made mistakes before in your past, okay? And you're either A, afraid you'll make the same mistakes, or B, you made mistakes, you learn from them, but you're very scared that you're just gonna keep making the same mistakes. And like I said, I made mistakes when I was young and dumb and in my 20s. That's what people freaking do. Everybody does it. I was just in with a group of people that did not offer me grace and space to make those mistakes. I was held to a different standard than other people in that group. And with all the work that I've done, I have learned I didn't deserve that. I did not deserve the villainization of being young and dumb that I got. And I've also done motherfucking work. So those mistakes, probably won't make them again. Definitely will not be making the mistake of having a mostly white friend group again. Hey, I'm just being honest. You will not see me in a group of whiteies again. But Godspeed to the pasty delegation. Every time I'm doing my makeup or filming myself doing my makeup, I just feel like I just cannot think logically about how things are supposed to happen, the order that things are supposed to happen, how to make things look good. Like, my brain just fully melts into a pile of goo and I get shell-shocked and I actually cannot do it. Because right now I'm like, what powder? What am I even doing right now? What is happening next? I'm setting my face now. That's what I'm doing. You know, I've pretty sure I've said this before. Yeah, I've said this before online and I'll say it again. Who you're around very much does influence. This isn't a ground banking thing that I'm saying, but who you're around very much does influence the person you are and the person you will become. Okay? You are 100% a sum of the people around you. And there's a very particular reason why when I do now choose who gets to be around me, because I would love to put myself in more positions of being around people, but you know, like I said, I do have that fear of being vulnerable with myself or with other people. But when I do choose who gets to be around me, I am very intentional about picking people, about the people I pick. Because the people I used to pick, I was not very intentional about. It was very much like a convenient thing, kind of like when you're in grade school and people are just your friend because you guys happen to just be in the same class all the time. You don't question whether or not you actually like each other because, well, you don't. You don't question that. You're always in class together, so obviously you just make things work, you know? But you're friends with the people that are around you. As an adult, you are allowed to choose your friends. You are allowed to be picky. You are allowed to decide, I don't want to be friends with this person. And it could actually be for just about any reason you want. You don't have to have a justified reason for not wanting to be friends with people. You can just say, I don't want to be friends with you because you're ugly. And yeah, that's questionable and definitely a weird thing to do, but you can do it. It's fine. Because I'm sure that person would not want to be friends with you because you're an ass, if that is the reason why you choose not to be friends with them. But I did not realize that that was an option. And I'm going to say something and it's going to sound probably very strange and weird if you don't get it. But I felt like to be a nice person, you have to give everybody a chance. And chance, I'm using that word very, very loosely because I don't even think there really was a chance. It's just everybody is your friend. Everybody is, like, it never occurred to me. I was always friends with like misfits growing up. We had zero interest. We had zero in alignment. Really, if you actually looked at our core values as well, they were probably very, very different. But I was always friends with people that were probably getting in trouble in school. And mind you, not a reflection of me because I was not getting in trouble in school because you had to notice me first in the first place. And the only reason why I was noticed was because I was black. So I was definitely making friends with the kids that were troublemakers, the kids that were offbeat, the kids that honestly got made fun of a lot for being, you know, weirdos. I was friends with the girl that ate cat food at school, okay? And I would tell people to stop making fun of her for eating cat food because that was my best friend and we're not gonna do that. You know, that's who I was as a kid. I dated just about anybody that said they wanted to date me because preference never really checked into the equation here. I never, you know, even if you weren't somebody that I thought was attractive, if I even considered attractiveness, even if you weren't somebody that I considered attractive, because you were nice, I felt like, well, I had to at least give you a chance. And really, like I said, that chance didn't really mean anything to me because I was probably just going to keep hanging around until you decided you were bored because that was the nice thing to do. I would much rather contort my own needs, wants, desires so that you feel comfortable than to actually like evaluate, do I even like it here? You know, because for, like I said, for a very long time, it didn't even cross my mind to consider whether or not I liked it here or not. You know, now I know these things. Now I know to consider that. So that does, I have to practice. I honestly have to practice that because if you don't use a certain tool, then you don't know how to use it. You don't use it, you lose it, whatever that phrase is, right? Now, when I go into relationships, I am asking myself often because I don't know how to just automatically assess that. I am asking myself often, do I even like it here? Because I am trying to decide not necessarily whether or not I like you, but like, do I like this relationship? And if I don't like this relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean I don't like you, just maybe I just don't like the relationship. And that's okay too. But I was always around people that were just kind of within my proximity. I always had a crush on somebody because there was a history that had already existed. And so that automatically meant, oh, we should be together, which is a very weird logic way of thinking. Or I had a crush on you because I felt like you had a crush on me first. So naturally, I should just have a crush on you too. And that's not it. That's not it. So everybody I was around, did they like me? Did I like them? I don't know. I could honestly tell you I was around a lot of people who definitely did not like me. And I think if I had the knowledge, I guess, to think about it, I probably didn't really like them, but they definitely did not like me, but kept me around. And I could tell you I have no idea why they kept me around, except for maybe just the fact that we were all young and dumb and just did not understand that we did not have to hang out together. We did not have to be friends. We did not have to date. We did not have to be in relationships with each other. I don't know what it really was that made people like that want to hang out with me. I was just always around. I have this one friend. I need to grab my eyebrow stuff. Mind you, I called this girl my best friend, okay? I have this one friend, and she would literally call me trash. She would call me trash. She'd make jokes and be like, well, that's because you're trash. And not in like a white trash kind of way, because sometimes I call myself that, but that's because really you gotta know where I grew up from. White trash really is quite a bit of my background, all right? I don't think I'm white trash, but I do come from a white trash background. It just is what it is. This was not how she was calling me trash. She was calling me trash in a very derogative, it was mean. It was mean. And I never read it as mean because I was like, tee-hee, my friend has this joke about me being a trash person. Tee-hee, this person has a joke about me wearing trash. This person has a joke about me. Like, I just always chalked it up to humor. And it never hurt my feelings until many, many years after the fact when I realized, why the fuck was somebody that was supposed to love and care about me, my best friend in the entire world, calling me trash? That's not your friend. That's not your friend. And I understand that friends have self-depreciating jokes. That's not. That's not. And I will say, I understand that friends have self-depreciating jokes. Me and my friends, my best friend, my actual best friend that I have right now, who I know is my best friend in the entire world because I constantly gush about her and y'all will hear her name day in and day out. I think this will be the first time I just don't say it just for funsies. Just for funsies. But everybody fucking knows her name at this point. We don't joke like that. We don't do self-depreciating jokes. And I'm not saying that we don't self-depreciate, because I'm sure somewhere we have and we do, maybe. But I could say with just, I honestly, it's definitely not a core part of our relationship, if it's even a part of our relationship at all. And with this particular girl that I was friends with, it was a core part of our relationship that she would make fun of me. I honestly don't remember making fun of her. And I would own up to it because I definitely have had relationships with people where there's a big imbalance where the depreciation was happening, where I was being honestly kind of mean to them and they were not that same way back to me, or they were, but maybe on a lesser degree. I would own up to it. This was not that. She was just mean. She was just mean. And that was somebody that I spent most of my time with. That was somebody that I would bounce relationships off of when we were both dating. That was somebody that I would count as my confidant. Somebody who called me trash on enough of a basis that this is something that I remember as a core part of our relationship. And that was who I was around. That was who I was expecting grace and forgiveness from when I made, human mistakes time and time again. as you do when you're in your fucking 20s, right? And honestly, the joke could have started with me because I was homeless as well at this point. So I could have very well started the joke. But when my friends now, when they say something self-depreciating, most of the time I flip-flop and reverse it, all right? And I go, yeah, I don't think that's it. I think it's more this, and find a way to make them feel good about themselves, because you're already down bad, babes. If you're making that joke about yourself, you already feel a little down. My job as your friend is to lift you up. I can be real, but I can also lift you up. And that's what I would much rather do instead of just keep kicking you. Like, you are who you're around. And I was around that, okay? But as I kind of insinuated earlier, that's not the first time I've had friends where, honestly, did we really even like each other, or were we just kind of in the same proximity and it was just convenient to be friends, right? Because as a kid, my first boyfriend, okay? This is, you know, the jokes about like how men will fall in love once and then it just kind of becomes their whole fucking personality. So every single woman after that is being compared to like their fucking 14-year-old girlfriend. I hate to say it, but I may be an insufferable man to some degree. Because my first boyfriend, I, loved this guy. And I'm saying that in quotes because I was a kid. Keep in mind, I was probably 11, 12, 13 years old, all right? I was a kid. I was a child. Loved him in the way that you do with your preteen hormones, which is intense. And it's the first time, so it feels very deep, right? Because that's the first time you've ever experienced a feeling like that. He would consistently ask me if he could pretend he was single so that he could go and hold hands with my best friend. And I would let him. I would let him. All right? Now, I don't know. I can honestly say, for a while, I don't think I knew it was my best friend. There was a point when I did realize it was my best friend. And I think I was hurt, but I was still friends with her because I tried to see it from her perspective, which is actually insane. But that's where, when I think about where I learned to just like compromise my boundaries, because as far as I was concerned, nobody else was ever going to love me because I was constantly told I can't be with you because you're black. And I can't be with you because you're tall. Because I was also freakishly tall for my age. So like, I felt a scarcity of love for who I was all around me. So I had to take the crumbs I could get. And that formed the mega monster that became year after year after year after year of the person that I was, okay? This person who did not like themselves. This person who just took whatever love she could get, took whatever, because I didn't realize I had options. Now I have options, and I know I have options. So now you better come fucking correct. And the best option is I could choose myself. Because I love myself so much now that I would much rather be alone than have to deal with some bullshit, right? At the time, being a little bitty baby me, I did not know. Quite frankly, honestly, probably didn't have options because we were all going to school and we only had 175 kids in that whole school. Nobody was gay yet or saying that they were gay yet. Yeah, my options were pretty fucking slim at that point. But if I had to have a villain origin story, I would say it was that man. And I could say his name, but I'm not going to. I could say the name of everybody that fucked me up as a kid, all right? There's one thing as a Virgo that I definitely got going for me is, I was about to say, I do forgive, but I don't forget. But honestly, I don't forgive either. Not anymore, at least, all right? Yeah, no. But who you are around is who you will become. And who I was around were a bunch of people that didn't like black people, that didn't like me. And then, honestly, I feel really bad because the people that did want to have relationships with me, like friend relationships with me, we just had nothing in common because at the end of the day, we were friends because we were just always in the same spaces. you know? So time was just really on our side. And so I grew up not understanding how to actually just make the friends that I want to have, instead of just making friends with what I'm provided with. You can curate your group around you. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, especially if you're in a small area and there aren't a lot of people that have the same interest as you. It's gonna be hard. But also, hopefully, you've done the work to like yourself enough that that hardness feels less unbearable, I guess is the way I'm trying to phrase that. Because now that I know what it's like to have a really, really good friend, now that I know what it's like to like not be around people that freaking hate you, I do genuinely, I'm like, God, I don't think I could ever settle for anything less than this. This is an amazing feeling. And I understand not all relationships are going to be the pinnacle of. My best friend is somebody recently in one of my TikToks. I was talking about her because I do talk about her a lot. It is platonic. It is platonic. Let me clarify. It is platonic. But she is essentially my sister. And somebody said, it sounds like she's your soulmate. And I was like, oh. Yeah, probably. She's probably like my platonic soulmate, honestly. Truly. Because there's just something so kismet and something so just, it just fits. It just works. Our relationship just works. And I understand an experience like that is not something that comes very often. And I accept that and I'm fine with that. It also does not mean that I have to surround myself with bullshit, with terrible people that do not like me. And talking about this stuff feels very vulnerable and it feels weird because it feels annoying to be like, oh, I'm still highly affected or was still highly affected well into my 20s by a boyfriend I had when I was freaking 11, 12 years old. Like, I feel insufferable admitting shit like that. I feel insufferable admitting that, like, so much of my personality has been hurt by the fact that I didn't have anybody around me that looked like me. I didn't have anybody black around me to be like, hey, babe, do you want us to get you out of the sunken place? Like, I had none of that. When I went to college and said, I want a black roommate and got a black roommate, it was healing to me on so many different levels. But it still, like I said, it still wasn't enough because I just, like I said, I inevitably fell back into old habits of just surrounding myself with only white people. And that ended up hurting me. That hurt me. And I'm not saying that I can't be friends with white people. I'm not saying white people and black people can't be friends. But I am saying I was not around people that cared about me. And I didn't know what it looked like to be cared about as a person yet. Because all I was a token in most situations. I did not know what it was like. And the only way I really would have found that out, honestly, was being around other black people. I needed to have time. I needed to spend time with other people that it was almost a non-factor, my skin, for the first time. We were almost all on an equal playing field to some degree because we all have the same skin tone. My complete dislike of myself was a virus that infiltrated every aspect of me, including my career as a person online. Because I was doing quite well for myself when I was willing to talk about myself. And then, like I said, I just kept getting hurt and hurt and hurt by the people that were supposed to be close to me. Sometimes I deserved it. You know, I'm not saying it was just like a one-sided thing. Sometimes I deserved it, all right? But I kept getting hurt, and it made me more and more scared to show up and exist as a full-fledged person and not like a caricature, not just like a two-dimensional person, a picture on the wall. You know, but I want a career and I want to do this and I want to help people and I really want to help the people that were like me because God, did I need help and I needed people that were in my fucking corner and I needed people that I could have looked up to because God, I needed it, you know, and I want to be that for somebody else. But I can't do that for somebody else if I'm not willing to talk about these things that make me upset to talk about. And they don't make me upset because, you know, I'm still like, I hurt for the version of me that would punish myself for these situations. I could not help this situation that I grew up in, you know? I couldn't help that. I couldn't help that I ended up getting hurt the way that I did. I wish that there were different decisions I could have made, but also I could not make those decisions or else I would have. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that if you know better, then you'll do better. I just couldn't do better yet. I couldn't. And now I can. And now I don't have a reason to not talk about myself unless I'm just really, really don't care about doing this. And I really, really care about doing this. And I really, really want somebody else to see this and go, huh, I don't know everything that has happened in her life, but obviously that girl had some shit go down. And if she can do it, and if she can show up, and she can talk about her life, maybe I can too. So that somebody else maybe will stumble upon me. And then we could just start the snowball effect of people just showing up as themselves, feeling confident in themselves, loving themselves, and doing the things that they want to do in this world because they feel safe and confident and celebrated and loved in themselves enough and in the environments around them enough to go and do those things. That's what I want. I want a snowball effect. I don't want me to be the top of anything, okay? That's not what I want. I want me to be a part of something. But I can't be a part of something if I'm not willing to put myself in there, if I'm not willing to put myself out there. And it's the same thing I want to extend to you. If you want to have a career in this space, it's not about the makeup. We don't give a fuck about your makeup. We don't give a fuck about your fashion. We don't give a fuck about your video game. We care about who you are and what you have to contribute to this space. You know? It seems like you have something to say. Do you want to say something to the class? I've kept so much of me hidden for so long, and I'm hopefully about to make plans with somebody soon that I've wanted to be friends with, and she does know a little bit about me, which is nice. I would like to tell her more about me and practicing that being open about myself and who I am and why I am the way that I am. And it's not about trauma dumping. It's about just being open and not omitting anything anymore. And I want to do the same here. I know people are going to judge me. I know people aren't going to like everything I have to say. And it does feel like scary for me because, like I said, I don't want to put harm into the world. I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I don't want to do anything that could cause irreparable damage, you know? But also at the same time, I deserve to take up space in real life and also online. And part of taking up space is being a human and making missteps and standing back up from those missteps. And am I boring you? I know, I'm about to wrap this up a little bit, okay? The same grace and forgiveness and space that I give to everybody else, I deserve to give to myself. I'm going to finish my face real quick and then we'll be right back. Do you want to say? You say bye to your people? Because I'm going to put you down. Okay, so we got our hair done. We have our lashes on. For lips, I did just get in some new products from L'Oreal. Not sponsored or anything, just never sponsored. No, I'm kidding. One day we will be sponsored. But I did come across, I think it's these two lip liner shades, the shade 635 and 601. I think usually there is a nude shade that I usually go in for a look like this, but I saw these and I just thought they were so pretty, the colors. So I am going to do these shades today just for something a little different, a little fun. I think that they would be cute. This might be too close to my skin tone, but we'll see. And they did send me other lip shades, but I just saw these two and I was like, oh, you know, these would look so lovely if they have the right depth. Okay. And then I'm gonna take 601, pop that in the middle, go back in with 635 real quick, kind of see if I can get a little bit more shape in my lip. I might have to do a slightly darker lip liner possibly. I don't know. I'll leave it for now. We'll see for now. My hair looks lopsided on camera. I promise in real life, though, it is, well, hold on. It's a little lopsided. I am ready to begin shooting. This took me a very long time to do. It does not usually take me this long to do my makeup, but you know, when I'm talking and filming and doing my makeup at the same time, my brain turns to mush, so it takes a lot longer than usual. But I hope that you enjoyed this conversation with me, this little chit-chatty get ready with me. Please let me know down below, by the way, because obviously this is going to be a longer video. Maybe we'll take a little bit more effort to edit and all of that. So I would like to know if this is something I should continue to do in the future. And until the next video, be brave out there, okay? Be vulnerable. Tell your story, okay? Start talking about yourself. It's okay. You deserve to take up space and all of that. And I'll talk to you soon. Why am I still doing the peace sign? I don't have to do that anymore. I don't know. I don't know how I'm ending videos anymore. Who knows?